Before highways, before airplanes crossed the skies, there were trains, and with them came something that quietly shaped the nation of Canada: train stations. These places were more than platforms and tracks. They were gateways to opportunity, meeting points for families, and symbols of a growing country. In the late 1800s, Canada was still expanding across vast and challenging landscapes. Traveling from east to west could take months, but everything changed when the railway arrived. One of the most important projects in Canadian history was the creation of the Canadian Pacific Railway. Completed in 1885, the railway connected the eastern and western parts of Canada for the very first time. Suddenly, people could cross the entire country in just a few days. Train stations followed. In small towns and remote settlements, simple wooden stations began to appear. Many of them were modest buildings, just a waiting room, a ticket counter, and a small platform beside the tracks. But even these tiny stations became the heart of their communities. Farmers used them to ship crops across the country. Families gathered there to welcome loved ones, and immigrants stepped off trains, beginning brand new lives in Canada. As the country grew, so did its stations. Before we continue, please help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe. By the early 1900s, train stations were becoming larger and far more impressive. Cities began building grand stations designed to show strength, progress, and confidence. One of the most famous examples is Union Station in Toronto. When it opened in 1927, it was one of the largest and most beautiful stations in Canada. Inside, travelers walked across marble floors beneath towering ceilings. Huge halls echoed with footsteps, voices, and the sounds of arriving trains. Across Canada, other important stations were built. In Winnipeg, Union Station became a key stop for travelers heading west. In Vancouver, Pacific Central Station welcomed passengers arriving from across the country. These stations were more than transportation hubs. They were landmarks of Canadian progress. But by the middle of the 20th century, things began to change. Air travel became faster. Highways stretched across the country. Cars and airplanes started replacing trains for many long journeys. Passenger numbers dropped. Some train stations closed their doors. Others slowly fell into silence. For a time, it seemed like the golden age of railway travel in Canada was fading away. But the story didn't end there. In the modern era, train travel began to evolve once again. Historic stations were restored and preserved. New technology improved rail systems, and train stations transformed into modern transportation hubs. Today, Canada's national passenger rail service, Via Rail, continues to connect major cities across the country. Millions of passengers still travel by train every year. Many stations now link trains with buses, subways, and other transportation systems. One powerful example is Union Station. What once served steam trains now welcomes hundreds of thousands of passengers every single day. From simple wooden buildings in small frontier towns to massive transit centers in modern cities, Canadian train stations have grown and evolved with the nation itself. So tell me, if you had to choose just one, which transportation system would you use? Would you take the plane, fast, powerful, flying above the clouds? Or the train, smooth, steady, watching the world pass by? Maybe the car, total freedom, go wherever you want, whenever you want. Think about it. Speed, comfort, adventure. What matters most to you? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe for more epic Canada adventures.